Hello and welcome to the LSCDS Coffee Break Spotlight. I'm Tania from the LSCDS writing team, and I'm delighted to have one of our writing team lead alumni, Bassem Toeama, with us. Bassem Toeama graduated in medicine and has worked in clinical medicine as an oncologist in academia and in pharmaceutical industry over the past 25 years. His experience has been primarily in oncology, pharmacovigilance, clinical research, and lab research. He holds an MSc degree in experimental therapeutics at the University of Oxford and MSc degree in experimental medicine at McGill University. He is currently a PhD candidate in health technology assessment at the University of Toronto. Bassem is also the founder and CEO of MD Pharma Consulting Group. Bassem's areas of research are health technology assessment, decision analysis, and benefit risk assessment. Bassem, thank you very much for joining us today. Could you please introduce yourself and tell more about your current professional role?
So thank you, Tania, for inviting me for this coffee break. And as you have introduced me, my name is Bassem Toeama, and I am the CEO and founder of MD Pharma Consulting Group. 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, when the so my PhD, it's a part-time one. So 2.5 years ago, I was working in the industry as a pharmacovigilance consultant to one of the CROs here in Toronto. And then the COVID came. When the COVID came, I was laid off. And this was like a turning point for me. I applied for, at that time, I applied for jobs in different organizations, but no one invited me for an interview. And I understand, because at that time there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of risk. So employers wouldn't hire at that point with the COVID, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And there was a lot of drawback and recession, economic recession in different countries, including Canada, of course. So at this point, I decided to take the business in my own hand. And given the diversity of skills which I have, so as you have mentioned, and yes, I proudly say that I'm an expert in all of that. I have experience in pharmacovigilance. I am a PhD candidate in health technology assessment, and this year is my 5th/6th year in health technology assessment and health economics. I have experience in experimental medicine and in lab work. I have experience in clinical research. I have experience in all of that. So I thought it's time, and in medical writing, of course. So I thought this is the right time to open a scientific office or a consulting firm that will provide diverse services to different stakeholders in the healthcare and R&D industry. And I started building up my team. So I have experts in all of these services, the pharmacovigilance, who work with me, of course, in pharmacovigilance, in health economics, in data management, clinical data management, in clinical research, conduct of clinical research, medical monitoring, in medical writing, in statistics, by statistics, in data analysis. And this was like a crazy step, because again, a lot of people told me, you're starting your own business, you're an entrepreneur, you're opening your own business at the wrong time and in the wrong circumstances. And maybe they were right, but you know what? I'm a risk taker, because I believe this is what you should do if you want to move forward. If you don't take the risk, you will never move forward. So I opened the company, the group, the MD Pharma Consulting Group. And at the beginning, the business was not doing okay. So I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to think outside the box. The market is competitive in North America. There's a lot of consulting firms like me who work in this industry, in the healthcare industry and in the R&D industry. So I studied the market. I studied where is a raw market that is still a virgin and suitable for penetration and market access. So this is what I did. I studied the markets here and there, and I found that the market in the MENA region, the Middle East and North African region, is still brand new and its potential. So I opened a regional office here in Cairo, Egypt, and I made the team here as well. So I have two teams, one in Cairo, in Egypt, and one in Toronto. And I'm managing both. And after 2 years of doing that, I think I've started to harvest the business which I've started, which I have initiated and founded 2 years ago.
Thank you very much for elaborating on your experience. So as you have mentioned, you have really diverse professional experiences, and you transitioned from academia to industry, industry to back to academia, and now you're an entrepreneur. So how did you decide and when did you decide to make these career changes? You mentioned one of them was the pandemic, but if you have any other pivotal moments, or you have looked at your qualities to know what best suit for you. So did you have like a thought process that this is what I'm going to do now? And like, what was the process for you?
So the thought process started in 2014. So after finishing my Master of Science at McGill, that was in experimental medicine. So that's basic research work. And before that, I did another graduate study at Oxford University, and that was in experimental therapeutics, clinical research. So at this point, I had a complete and a total overview of the drug development pipeline, the R&D, and the way it goes, when it starts with a hypothesis or an idea, and then you take it to the target identification, target validation stage. Then after that, the proof of mechanism study in a lab study. Then after that, you continue with your preclinical work until you reach the clinical stage, the stage 0 to the stage 4 clinical trials. And then after that, and during all of these stages, you have to take approval from the regulatory authority until you finalize your investigational medicinal product and take it to approval, final approval, until it's launched in the market. So after having this complete overview of the drug development pipeline, at this point, I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to start approaching the industry, because I know the concept, I know how it works, I know the pipeline, I know each stage and what it takes for each stage. So I approached the industry and I worked in a CRO in pharmacovigilance, and I like pharmacovigilance. I like it as a science, as a pharmacovigilance expert. And then in 2016, I told myself, well, I like to update myself academically. If you don't update yourself academically and science-wise in this industry, you will lose. So this is the point. Never stop learning. Science is evolving. Science is updating itself. Every day there is something new. So if you don't stay on track, and if you don't keep yourself updated with what's going on, you will lose. You will lose as an entrepreneur, you will lose as an industry expert, you will lose as someone who's interested in that field. So that's how I got the idea of doing a PhD at U of T in the field of health economics, health technology assessment. And again, because health economics and health technology assessment is like, it's a big thing here in Canada and in other parts of the world, because it deals directly with the real world data and the real world evidence. So I thought, okay, I have a good idea of the R&D process. I have a good idea of the drug development pipeline. I also need to have a good idea about the healthcare industry, and how to relate the health technology assessment and the health economics to the healthcare industry. And that's how I applied for the PhD at the U of T. And I'm still here as a PhD candidate. I'm enjoying wearing the two hats, the hat of an entrepreneur and the hat of a student who wants to learn more and more, and who will never stop learning until the day I die.
So you have focused on your experiences to decide on your future career, and you really emphasize on the continuous learning process.
Of course.
So what were your biggest obstacles when you look back from now that you overcome?
Challenges and obstacles. Challenges and obstacles are the paucity of the job opportunities. So the market being very competitive, and so I had to I had to apply for, in 2014, I had to apply for a lot of companies and a lot of organizations working in the industry until eventually, after such, maybe after 3-4 months of applying for a lot of companies, finally I got the job opportunity, which means that the market is not easy, and the job market is not easy. So this is one of the main challenges, which looking back, this is one of the main challenges which I have to acknowledge. My advice for that is always be ready. So be one step ahead of the game, and make yourself rise and shine, so that when the employer reads your CV and finds that you're doing the extra mile, the employer will definitely call you for an interview. If you don't do this extra mile, if you don't do this extra thing that you're supposed to do, no employer will call you for an interview. Trust me, I've been there.
Okay, so run an extra mile to make your place in the very competitive job market, which is by days becoming more and more competitive, definitely.
Definitely.
So you have been also volunteering while your studies and your other career at the same time. And you were the team lead for LSCDS writing team from 2018 to 2019.
Yeah.
So do you think your experience in LSCDS made any impact in your career?
For sure, it sharpened my medical writing skills. It sharpened them big time. So it sharpened my writing skills. It made me well organized, focused on how to frame an article, a blurb, you name it, how to frame it, how to write it in the proper structure, how to pick up the words, and how to make them coherent, how to make the subject that you're writing about, how to make it coherent, how to make it attractive to the reader who's going to read your article, your blurb, your whatever you're going to write. You have to make the ideas coherent together. You have to make them streamlined so that at the end, the reader will be pleased with what you're writing. LSDS has or had and still have a great impact on my career, on Bassem as he is right now.
Writing is like a basic communication skill, and if you have a good what do you say, skill for this, you can use it for every aspect of your career. So you made best use of that.
For sure.
So my next questions are really your advices for the trainees. So trainees who are interested to be entrepreneur, what do you suggest to them?
So before becoming an entrepreneur, first, in order to be an entrepreneur, first get the job experience. So apply for jobs, get some experience, work for some organizations, whatever organization you're interested in. Don't take the risk and be an entrepreneur until after some time. You need to have more hands-on skills and ground experience of what's going on in the industry. And then after some time, yes, and if you're willing to be an entrepreneur, please do so. My other advice is, if you want to approach employers on LinkedIn, be smart in the message that you, because I receive a lot of messages on LinkedIn and a lot of them are not smart. So be smart in the message that you send to the employer, to the potential employer, when you're using the professional networks as LinkedIn. Like from the back end, I'm telling you, when I'm reading a lot of messages on LinkedIn, I simply read the first few words and then I discard it. As soon as I read the first few words, I discard it. So be smart and be very focused and very targeted in the message that you send on LinkedIn to the potential employer, because employers will not have time to read your big LinkedIn message that's out of focus and out of target, and it will not take you anywhere.
Right. Use your writing skill when you're writing LinkedIn messages.
Here you go.
Perfect. So you have mentioned about the pandemic, how pandemic has shaped your career goal. So it has also impacted the trainees. For them, it's a challenge to meet professionals, and now everything has moved to the online platform. So do you have any advice for trainees, for the current trainees, how to make best use of the online platforms and how to still develop the interpersonal skills with professionals and leave a Zoom room impression so that the attendees or the speakers remember the person?
So with the pandemic, everything has, so even me and you, we're doing this coffee break virtually, right? So everything is virtual right now, and there's no turning back. There's no going back. So moving forward, a lot of business will be done. A lot of meetings will be done virtually. A lot of business will be done virtually. The in-person meetings and it will be minimal even after the pandemic is over. The in-person meetings will be minimal. The use of the online platform and the integration of technology in the conduct of business, this is its booming era. So again, my advice is be tech friendly. Don't be afraid from using the technology. Don't be afraid from using the apps, the platforms. Get used to it. Be familiar with it. You're gonna need it.
I feel the same message as you have delivered before, the continuous learning. Being tech friendly is also this part of this continuous learning to welcome and accept the new technologies. Bassem, we are very happy that you joined us today, and we wish all the best for your graduate studies, for your business, and overall for every endeavor in your life.
Thank you very much. Thank you.